Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County, whether it's focused on food insecurity, the arts, homeless, you name it. They are involved in these key issues. Honored to have in the studio the Chicano Federation. They've been a frequent guest on our Spotlight show. Adrianna O'Donnell is the Chief Growth Officer. Adrianna, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me today.
No, you kidding me? You guys always have great content and do so much important stuff. How long have you been involved with the Federation?
Well, I actually started working at Chicano Federation a year ago last week. And I am the first Chief Growth Officer to exist at Chicano Federation, so I'm really honored to be there.
Okay, so is that a different term for development, marketing, revenue, everything wrapped in one?
It's all of the above, Drew. It's focus on resource development or philanthropy. It's strategic partnerships. We are a collaborative organization. And it is about marketing and communications, ensuring that everyone knows exactly what we do, how we do it, and how they can get involved.
Well, listen, if anyone has been in San Diego for any time and they've not heard about the Chicano Federation, then they're going to have to get their ears adjusted. You folks are, how many years have you been in San Diego now?
Well, we started in 1969, so it is our 57th year.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. And you folks have done such unbelievable things in so many different areas. What's the main mission?
Well, our mission is to cultivate opportunities and advocate for families and individuals for a more equitable comunidad. So as mentioned, we started in 1969 as an advocacy organization at the height of the civil rights movement and the Chicano movement of Southern California. And since then, we've evolved to offer essential services, essential wraparound services. So that looks like affordable housing at 8 different sites throughout San Diego. It looks like a child development center on Logan Avenue in Barrio Logan. And it also looks like workforce development and leadership training and sports program for our youth. I mean, we've really expanded to ensure that, families that look to us have the resources that they need when they need it.
How many folks do you touch a year?
53,000 throughout San Diego County.
Wow, that's huge. And that the key being throughout San Diego County. There's no question about that. Is that number growing?
It is.
Yeah, because of the need that certainly we have in this country in a variety of ways. Talk about something that is real important to us at Cloudcast Media and our Spotlight show is the connection with education and how you work with the schools.
Absolutely. So Chicano Federation has a early childhood development program, and that is through our child development program on Barrio Logan, in Barrio Logan. And we work with educators, we work with the community to ensure that children and families have access to affordable and accessible childcare throughout San Diego County. So one of our longest programs is actually workforce development, where we train and help women, families to establish their own in-home child care business. And, what we do know about San Diego County is that there isn't enough affordable childcare. So that's one way that we really support And not only do we help with the entrepreneur side of it, like establishing your own
Right.
business at home, but we also ensure that there's training along the way, as well as other services like how to balance your checkbook and how to make sure that you have access to accepting payment in different ways like Venmo and Zelle, all of these things that help a growing small business thrive.
Yeah, and I think that whole point, we all know child care is a major point, to say the least. That people have to make decisions. Can I actually afford to work?
Exactly.
Maybe not. Numbers just don't work out that way, and certainly now you get them to learn how to do that stuff, either being an entrepreneur at home and still take care of the kids in that area. But do you go into the schools themselves and work with whether the teachers in the TK or elementary or middle and high school, and just chat to the students about what you offer, the services you offer?
Yeah, especially this year, we've actually grown to provide additional services in Barrio Logan.
I know, I saw that.
Which is, our roots. We started in Barrio Logan
Exactly.
in 1969. So we do have active relationships with the local schools, and we want them to know what we offer, not just from the child's standpoint, but also from the family. So we do have a community resource center in Barrio Logan that provides everything from a food pantry, a diaper pantry, personal hygiene items, as well as other resources for families to, whether they're looking at affordable housing, what is available right now, to help filling out applications, help figuring out bills, help with other resources that we may not offer, but we do have the connections with other organizations that do, and they're in the space with us.
I think what's so important about that, and we talked about this quite a bit, a lot of money has been put into community schools with the governor's budget over the last several years. I mean, a lot of money. And community schools isn't a new concept. However, there's a lot of resources behind it. And we all know that schools should be the hub of the community, and
Right.
not just education, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's showing how to start your own business, and so forth. So it just makes an easy connection between what you folks are doing, to say the least on this. And of course, I'm speaking to the congregation, on this. Chicano Federation has always been one of those organizations that believes in not being in a silo, because if you're in a silo, you'll die in a silo. It's all about collaboration and partnerships. Talk about that.
Yes. Well, we all know what happened, once we got a new administration, right? A lot of things that we thought were secure aren't secure as far as funding is concerned.
Right.
And we decided at that point that we, like most organizations, we're going to really look at diversifying our revenue streams, right? Nonprofits are businesses, and the difference is that, we answer to the community, not private investors.
Right.
And so we took a look at our strengths, and we also took a look at who our partners are, and ensuring that collaborative spirit that has been with us forever was even more intentional, and that as we were looking at the new set, not necessarily new, I take that back. All of the difficulties, the barriers that have always been there and now are more intensified, that we had enough resource, enough staffing, enough support from all of our partners to be able to really provide services as families need it. And like immediately, So we have augmented our services at our Community Resource Center and ensured that they were very accessible in Barrio Logan. We ensured that our hours were what they needed to be for families that, work. We ensured that the space that we're in was accessible also for kids after school. So that they had a safe place to be, and also free. That's another thing I need to mention, that all of our services
Right.
do not have a charge. The only one that does is affordable housing.
Right, that makes sense. We come back from break, we're going to continue the conversation with Adrianna O'Donnell. She is the first Chief Growth Officer for the Chicano Federation. We're going to talk about that really amazing event that'll be coming on May 29, the Unity Luncheon that's going to be at the Gaylord in Chula Vista. Talk about that, and then we always save time at the second part of the interview. Adrianna, what our listeners can do to support you, whether it's volunteering, whether it's donations, whether it's product, whether everything else in between, when we return with our conversation with Adrianna O'Donnell. She's the Chief Growth Officer for the Chicano Federation. We'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So pleased to have in the studio with us today Adrianna O'Donnell. She's the Chief Growth Officer for the Chicano Federation of San Diego County. 57 years old and counting. Am I right on that?
That is correct.
Okay, 57 years old and counting, and been just doing, wonderful things for folks in this community. 53,000 folks they serve on an annual basis, and that number grows. But one of the events that they always hang their hat on is the Unity Luncheon. It's been going on for a while. This will be Friday, May 29 at the Gaylord. Talk about what people are going to see when they get down there.
Yeah. So our Unity Luncheon has been going on for 30 years. It's our signature event. And we're expecting 500 of our closest friends to come be in community with us. It's really, as the name says, Unity Luncheon. And we have a great program, one that honors the work that we do historically and how we've evolved to provide services now, which has really been based on trust and supporting families throughout San Diego to meet them where they're at, but with respect and dignity, and ensuring that we always listen to our community and what their needs are. One of the beautiful things about this year's Unity Luncheon is that we are also taking the time to celebrate a long time community icon, original advocate in the Barrio Logan community, Miss Rachel Ortiz, who has been an advocate and also the executive director of Barrio Station for over 50 years.
Yes, she has.
She's created an incredible legacy, one that has really offered a safety net in Barrio Logan and also a long-standing program in the community, which is the boxing program. It has been going on for a very long time and continues today. So we're happy to to really call attention to all that she's brought to our community.
Right, and the Gaylord is quite an amazing place in Chula Vista, to say the least, if you haven't been there yet. How do they get tickets? They go to the website?
Yes, they go to our website. It's if you Google Unity Luncheon 2026, you'll be able to see our website. You have the ability to purchase a table or to purchase tickets, and we would love to see you there. Another part of the program is we do have a keynote speaker, Sara Mora, which is a young activist, and it's really about, movement from moment to movement, and really being an advocate for your community.
Yeah, and in this day and age, we need to be advocates, and not just with our community, but with all communities, because we're all in this together.
Right.
And if we don't row in the same direction, then we're going to be running into each other. On this, I love the fact you got this wonderful story you want to talk about for this vice president that was part of a local credit union, and what the Chicano Federation has done for that person.
Well, before I physically got to Chicano Federation, I was so excited to share that, I was in this new role, and I was at a community event, and someone asked me, where do you work? What do you do? So I shared, Chief Growth Officer at Chicano Federation, and the person that I was speaking to, her face lit up, and she smiled so big, and she said, I actually have so much to thank Chicano Federation for. And she explained that years ago, she was a young mom going to community college, and she had a really hard time finding childcare so that she can continue her studies. And Chicano Federation was there for her. Her son was able to go to our child development center, and he was able to be in a safe space while she continued her studies. And today she is a VP at a local credit union. And she says, I wouldn't have been able to get here without that support, one that I can afford and had access to. So that made me so proud, but also like to see how she is, advocating for other women to do the same.
Well, it shows something that we talk about pretty incessantly on the Spotlight Show, and as we have for 20 years. It's not just one person that you're lifting up. It's that person's orbit as well. Whether it's sons or aunts or daughters or moms or whatever the case may be. And that sounds like an obvious statement, but if you haven't worked in the space of nonprofits, that's good, you helped Joe Blow. Well, you helped Joe Blow and his entire family, or her
Right.
family, or Joanne Blow, in that aspect of it. And I think that's what you folks at Chicano Federation for 57 years has been very mindful of. What's the orbit? What are we going to do? And we all know it's exponential. Once you help this, and it grows incessantly. So, what can we do? What can our listeners do to support what you folks have been doing and have been doing very well for 57 years?
Well, there's so many different ways, Drew, and it really is time, talent, treasure, all of the above. We need support, just like all of the wonderful organizations throughout San Diego and the world, really. So we do have, a very active program, whether you come and join us at our event, Unity Luncheon on May 29th at the Gaylord, or whether you want to come in to our space and help us put together baskets of food, hygiene kits, and help us with our food drives, which we're having on a monthly basis. The other way is becoming an advocate. Our communities are very affected about what's happening today in the world. And sometimes it just takes a friendly face, and it takes to write to your local elected officials and take a stand. And I think that's something that all of us can do and should.
Well, it doesn't cost any money to do that, okay? And when you do this collectively, they'll listen without question in this world. And 3.3 million people live in San Diego County, right? And so not a small number in this area. And when you think about it, when people get engaged with an organization like Chicano Federation, listen, if you can only afford $5, that's $5. I mean, you're engaged, okay? You're not going to turn down, Bill Gates' money, of course, but, that's it. If you can only guarantee 2 hours of volunteering a month because you're going to help out at some care center, that's 2 hours that we didn't have before. Now, you multiply that by your friends. Listen, I really enjoyed this. I'm bringing 3 friends to help me. Now it's 6 hours. Right. So these things work and they add up. Talk about how important it is to communicate that message to folks that will take that.
Absolutely. Volunteering is one of the greatest gifts you can give an organization. And, I know that that's not necessarily quantified in dollars, but it should be, because you're really supporting an organization. Because the one thing that we do know is that, we don't have all the hands.
Right.
And we may be understaffed, but it's not because of lack of, heart. Right. So when we are able to get volunteers and consistent volunteers, they're worth their weight in gold. And we do have longtime volunteers that help us at events, or help us with our food drives, or even help us deliver some items to families that may need that service. So I feel like if it's a calling for you, there is a mission of choice for you. I would proactively seek out how you can help support in whatever way feels right for you. And sometimes it is writing a check or going online and making a donation, or sometimes it is that being involved. And I also want to say that board service is also another way that community members can be very active with their organization of choice. I know that we have some wonderful, very engaged board members that are leaders in the community as well, but have stepped up to help guide the organization's leadership, and also, help us with the different industries that they represent. And some of the examples are, law, immigration law. Others is through the banking industry. I mean, Mission Federal is very involved with Chicano Federation and has been for a very long time. And those are relationships that are so valuable to us.
Yeah, and getting back to the volunteer thing, and I know some folks do some type of quantification of an hour at whatever they do these days. I forget what the benchmark, 25 an hour, whatever it is, and which equates to this is how much it would be if you had to hire somebody to do these things, of course, and we all know that is. But the most important thing is you're just getting engaged in this, as you well know, in that area. So the Unity Luncheon is going to be taking place on May 29 at the Gaylord in Chula Vista. 500 folks. It will sell out. It's their 30th annual, so make sure you get tickets as soon as you can. Any final comments?
Well, I want to say that although I am a new staff member, a year, I have been following Chicano Federation's work for many years, and although I only shared one story, there's so many, and at so many different levels, whether it's a community member that took part in our Leadership Training Institute over 20 years ago, or someone that played soccer with us, or someone that was able to take their child to one of our child development providers. It's really been an impact for San Diego, and also a guide for other organizations throughout the country to deliver the same type of services. So I'm proud to be here, but I'm also really excited about seeing our growth and being able to provide more services here in San Diego, especially in a time that really calls for it, and in collaboration with so many partners.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And Adrianna, make me a promise that we'll have you and maybe some of the families or people that have benefited from your services join you at the next time you come on. How's that sound?
That sounds beautiful. And I also invite you to come and tour us. We'd love to show you what we do in action.
I'd love to do that. Adrianna O'Donnell, she's the Chief Growth Officer for the Chicano Federation of San Diego County. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, is celebrating our 20th year. Brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.